Hi everybody, Rob with WePayOffDebt.ca coming at you today with another budget workshop. This one is for one of our members. This is for Terence and Nellie Rigby, not their real names, who live in Winnipeg. And I'm going to give you some details here. Let's switch over to the introduction. So here we go. So Terence and Nellie have one child who's Rianne. She's 3, turning 4 in July. Super cute. And Nellie works for the provincial government. Terence works evenings at a warehouse. And their biggest struggles are trying to get a focus and trying to get this debt paid off. They've been Dave-ish for quite a while, and we're going to see what we can do to help with that today. So before we go on, please go ahead and like this video. Comment below if you would like a budget workshop video. I'm always looking for people to volunteer. The focus is, of course, our members, but definitely feel free to volunteer below. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, please. This is a great way to get more attention to our channel. And if you want, please go ahead and share this as well with your friends if you think they can get some value out of it. We're going to be using every dollar to make this budget. And yeah, so let's dig into it. So their biggest struggle is, like I said, being Dave-ish. If you don't know what that is, following Dave Ramsey, Dave-ish has been somebody who doesn't quite follow all the Dave Ramsey principles. They were hit hard by COVID, and they started saving through that. A lot of people in that kind of circumstance. Nellie works hard to track every penny she has, but Terence has money allocated, but he doesn't categorize or track. That's fine. My wife doesn't categorize or track either. But here's a couple quotes that were interesting to me. He gives me money to cover shared expenses, and we're comfortable with separate accounts, but since thinking about estate planning and thinking about if something happens to one of us, I want to transition to joint accounts. So those are the things that kind of give me pause, because one of the things that I found in my marriage, and I know Dave Ramsey teaches a whole lot, is about getting on the same page with your spouse. Now, we've always had a combined bank account, but certainly I've been the one who does most of the looking, most of the work on that account, right? But what changed and what had to change in our marriage was we had to get to a point where we were working together, where we were sitting down together, talking about the budget and deciding what are our priorities together, okay? Now, you can get there with separate accounts. It's difficult though. It's much easier, and in fact, you want to make your life as simple as possible, your financial life as simple as possible. Getting one account would be is a pretty important thing just for that. So I would definitely recommend getting one account. Some expected special events in April is Nellie's birthday, so they budgeted $70 for that, so we'll definitely add that in, and some fun money for lunch, and of course Easter if there's any expenses associated with that. So Nellie and Terence, or Terence and Nellie, let's see what we can do to help you out here. Okay, so let's dig in. First off, their income. Terence makes about $2,900 take home this month. Nellie makes about the same, and they have a child benefit. So let's go ahead and put these in. So his pay, $2,900. Her pay, $2,920. We'll add in the child benefit, which is $212.66. And so total income for April, as I had here, lines up good, $6,032.66. Now, I always, whenever I do a budget workshop for somebody, want to go through and check how is their withholding. This is a pet peeve of mine. The government takes too much of our money and gives it back at tax time and makes it seem like there's a bunch of great people over in Ottawa, and that's just not the case. What they're doing is, when you're getting a tax refund, you are getting back your money, which you let them hold for over a year. So not a good idea. Tax refunds are a bad idea. Definitely check the links down below for some more info on that. But it turns out in 2020, now they had some issues with CERB in there. So it's entirely possible that things are not great. But owing $230, that's not too bad at all. I wish I was actually at that point. Because you're getting it, what that means is you're getting most of the money you deserve on a regular basis. In fact, slightly too much. So we'll leave it at that. I mean, it is a lot of money taken off. You can see their gross income is $118,000. This works out to about 2/3 of that. So welcome to Canada. Okay, so that's the income. Income is done. Let's move on. Next up is food, and this was what I was given. Food is $600 a month, and so I'm going to put that in here. And of course, it can go higher when they need to restock things like household items. This is a common thing people run into. And definitely you want to include household items in food. Some people go crazy and start categorizing everything. I would rather not do that. I think that's too much trouble. So I would put things like, paper products and cleaning products and everything. I would put that under groceries. So I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to go up to $6.50 a month. Okay, and if you don't end up using it all, no problem. Just put it in an envelope, save it for next month, because you will need it for when those things come up. Okay, that's it for food. Now the order we're going in here is pretty important. The order we're going in here is by priority. So the first thing we take care of is food. Now I've also got giving here because I'm a Christian and I believe giving is a pretty important thing. Not everybody does, and this couple does not have any giving on their list, and that's fine. No problem there. But then after that is the four walls. Let's just make sure that we can actually live. Okay, so after that we've got utilities. We got to be able to shower. We got to be able to have power and heat. Especially today, it's snowing outside in April. So electricity. Let's bring that back up. Leave that up. Okay, so electricity, we've got $85 a month. Water, waste, power, gas, it's all included in their rent. They are renting. Their internet, they have no cable, they have no home phone. Their internet is $115 a month with Shaw. Their cell phones come to $208 a month, and they already talked to me about the fact that his cell phone is quite high, and they're working to deal with that. Their plan is up in August this year, so they'll be able to get that taken care of. They also would like to give, and that was the word, they would like to give $100 a month in childcare to the grandparents for watching little girl, but they haven't been doing that, so I don't know how big a deal that is, but I am going to put it in here because, you know, if you can support the grandparents helping out, absolutely, but also I would be willing to accept their help because there's nothing wrong with that, and grandparents love spending time with the kids. Okay. So that's utilities, and that's more important even than rent. Rent would be number 2. So we actually have a place to live, because what good is a place to live if you can't shower there or keep warm? Their rent is $1,190, which includes water. Next up, you got to be able. Hey, where's my home insurance? I know there was something for home insurance in there. I don't have it right here. I'm gonna put $50 in there and see what happens. Of course, they don't have property taxes. Let's say $50, and we'll see how that goes. I can always look it up later if I need to pause this and come back to it. Their vehicles. They've got some nice vehicles. A 2013 Mercedes-Benz GLK 350 and a 2016 Chrysler 350. Very nice vehicles. I had to look them up. I'm not a car guy, but they look like nice vehicles. And that's the next priority. After your utilities in your house, you now have a place to live, you have a place to shower. Next priority is get to work. So you got to be able to get to work. So what do we cover? We cover gas. So we cover $230 a month in gas, and their estimates are pretty good there. They've been tracking for a little while. Insurance, vehicle insurance comes to $296 a month, and that's one pleasure, one all-purpose. And the pleasure, like me, she is able to work from home, and so that's great. So she doesn't have to worry about paying for higher insurance, and that's something to look into if you are working from home. Definitely look into lowering your insurance down to pleasure if you're not driving to work. Vehicle maintenance, I'm going to leave it 0 for now. We'll see how that goes. Clothing, that would be the next priority. So now you're able to get to work. Next thing is necessary clothing, and I have the word necessary there. Very, very important for those of you that love to spend money on clothes, right? This is absolutely necessary spending only. Now, their daughter is 3, and so there probably is some summer clothing due in there that they're going to have to, and this is their first child, so there's probably some necessary clothing in there. So what I'm going to do, under clothing here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put in $50, okay, and we'll see how that goes. We can always adjust it later. Lastly is life insurance, or specifically insurance. You gotta make sure this is dealt with, especially in a family like this. If one of them was to pass away, it'd be an absolutely horrible situation and an absolutely horrible financial situation. So if they didn't have insurance, they do. They've got about $700,000 on each. Is that good? So let's bring back up their income here. There we go. So their income right now is about $60,000 a year each, right? And we say 10 to 12 times your income. And the whole point there is that you could literally take the money you get from the insurance, invest it, make an 8 to 10%, and just straight up replace the income, right? So that's the idea there. 10 to 12 times your income, so 10 times 60 is 600, so 700 looks about right. So that's awesome. This couple's doing a lot of things right. Where is insurance here? There we go. $70.50, and you can see that for $700,000 for both of them, it's $70 a month. I mean, that's the cost of eating out a nice meal in even a reasonable meal in 1 month. Okay, and that takes care of your family in a lot of ways. So if you don't have insurance, definitely check out term life insurance, only 15 to 20 year fixed. They've got even a 10-year with a 3-year-old. The 3-year-old's only going to be 13 by that point. You may even want to look at upping it to 15 or 20 years, but it's at least enough for now. The fear, of course, is if something was to happen in the next 10 years, that they would become uninsurable, then they may not be able to get insurance again when the 10 years is up, if they still need it. If 10 years from now they are not taken care of, they are not completely well off enough to be self-insured, right? That they've got enough money that even if one of them was to pass away, God forbid, they would be able to make it financially. All right, that covers the 4 walls. And as you can see, we got about $3,000 left. That's not bad at all. Okay, so the 4 walls are done. We are living now. Now we can start making progress towards our goals. Now, unfortunately, there's something that gets in the way, and that is debt. And this couple, they are experts at getting debt, unfortunately. So the original debt, they actually included 5 credit cards, but 4 of them were consolidated into a line of credit. So they still have 1 credit card left, and that's here. And if you haven't stopped using that yet, you gotta, because look at that. You had 5 credit cards, which were not a blessing to you. They got moved into a line of credit, which is now $8,000. Okay, having those credit cards were not a blessing to you. It makes life more. It makes life easier using a credit card. It makes life more pleasant using a credit card, and so do a lot of things that are not good for us. Okay, so I do not have a credit card. I have not used a credit card in years. Neither has my wife. We are a credit card free family, and we push that hard because go look at some videos on us, and you'll get to know a little bit about our story, is why we got rid of the credit cards and why we think that's such a big deal. So, okay, so we got $300 on a TD, and in fact, I don't think I have these in here. Nope. But I'm not going to bother. I won't put the balances into every dollar. We'll just put the payments. So we've got $35 payment on the TD. We're just putting in minimums for now. His license fee. Now, I was told Terence had a license fee due to demerits, which is $325-ish, and they're paying monthly on that. I would put that as a debt, I think, because normally you just pay that when your insurance is due, and you just pay it and get it out of the way. And I would definitely recommend that. So at the very least, get rid of it. $325 gets it out, deals with one of these little flies, and it saves you $36 a month. So that's a great thing. Tires. This is one thing that a lot of people don't think about. Here in Winnipeg, MPI started offering a tire financing program, and people don't think about the fact that, hey, your tires are debt. So we got that in there. Oh, that's not the minimum. What's the minimum? $29.87. The license fee minimum is $36.06. There you go. I'm putting these in order by balance from lowest to highest. If you don't know, this is what's called the debt snowball. We're going to throw absolutely everything at the lowest debt first that we have extra left over, and then move up the chain from there. Personal loan. This has 0 payment associated with it because it's to a sibling, but it's $3,000. Car loan number 1. So for the Mercedes-Benz, this is her vehicle, 2013. It's at 5.9%, $205.93 bi-weekly. Ooh. I didn't calculate that offhand, so let's bring up the calculator here. So if I take $205.93, and I'll assume 2 payments this month, that is $411.86. Now, of course, if she actually has, or if they actually have 3 payments this month, which is possible sometimes with a biweekly payment, you would put the 3 times amount in here, right? You always put here the actual minimum you're expecting to pay, or the actual amount you're expecting to pay. Next up, line of credit, which has an interest-only minimum. We can actually calculate that, so why don't we? We like math here on this channel. $8,300 is the monthly at 7.5% interest. That's $622 a year. Divide that by 12, about $50. So we'll call it $52. There'll be some compound interest on that, but well, no, if it's you're paying the interest every month, it should be about that. So, all right, the RBC then. RBC Visa has a minimum of $120 a month. Car loan number 2 has a minimum. Oh, that's another Visa there. We got 2 credit cards open. Okay, close them both. Not worth it. Not worth it. You can do everything. Like, honestly, guys, I've traveled with a credit card. I have got hotels with a credit card. I have rented cars with credit cards. I have without credit cards. Sorry, I have a Visa. The three things I find you need in Canada to do well without a credit card. You need a Visa debit. You need a Coho card. If you don't know what that is, I'll put the link in the description. Coho card, absolutely awesome prepaid Visa card, essentially. So you've got a Visa debit, which runs through the Visa system. You've got a Coho prepaid Visa card, and PayPal. Put those 3 things together, and a good chunk of the time, you can do pretty much everything you can do with a credit card. It may not be as easy. It may not be as simple. Totally worth it. Car loan number 2. $205 bi-weekly. Ouch. So that is $410 a month. Again, if there were 3 payments, you'd want to put in 3. And total then, their total consumer debt, $60,000. Okay, a whole year's salary for one of them. Absolutely crazy. A lot of money. Okay, so we want to get them out of debt as soon as possible. We want to see what we can do to attack this and get this out of their lives so they can get on with their lives. Okay. Good. That takes care of the debt. We're going to leave that up because we'll probably come back to it. All right, other. So now we come to the other stuff, and you can see we still got almost $1,900 left to budget, and we are living and we are paying our minimums. Everything else is optional. Everything else is fun money. You don't like to think of it that way, but everything else is optional. And $2,000 a month on this debt, you're out of debt in 30 months. And that's actually ignoring the minimum, less than 30 months. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot. I mean, so let me take a look. What is your total minimum payments right now? How much is actually going out this month in debt payments? You're sending already $1,100 out on debt payments, and you've got $2,000 left. Okay, so if you put all of that, like if you literally took every penny of that and put it on the debt, $1,893.37, you're putting almost $3,000 on the debt. And how much debt do you have? $60,330.59 divided by that. Now this is not at all an exact number because there's going to be interest in there, but we have probably just over 20 months. So probably maybe 22, 23, you're out of debt in 24 months. Pretty much guaranteed. Right? So this is the thought you've got to have, that everything from this point on, I'm saying I want this more than I want to get out of debt. Got to have that mindset. Debt is the enemy. Debt is stealing $1,000 every single month from you. Right? In just minimum payments. If you were debt-free today, you would be $1,000 a month richer. It's like getting a $12,000 a year. No, with taxes, $15,000, $17,000, $20,000 a year increase in pay. Absolutely incredible. So getting that $1,000 back is our absolute priority. We don't want to worry about getting a house. We don't want to worry about upgrading stuff. We don't want to worry about going on vacation or anything like that. We want to get out of debt. We want to get that money back. Okay, so that's what we're doing. That's our focus here. So let's see what we got. We got things like Netflix. Okay, I can totally understand. I have kids. We have Netflix. Totally understand having stuff like that. So let's put it in there. Netflix, $14.99. You have bank fees. You can't really deal with that. There are going to be bank fees, $22.90. We've got now, and this is the interesting stuff. So as we started talking, I got a list of things here, and I was able to clarify whose stuff this was. So what we've got We got a $50 gym membership for him. We've got a $100 religion course online for him. We got $10 a month for his Apple Music. We got $13 a month for his iCloud and $6 a month for his Sirius XM and $200 a month for his blow money. So I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call it his blow money. And I'm going to put this in as, my calculator closed. I'm going to put his blow money as all of this. Because if he decides not to go to the gym and not have that membership and work out at home, that's the savings on the family, right? If he decided not to take that religion class, that's a savings on the family. And if you guys want to put, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is a bad idea. I just took a course last term where we paid, geez, that was $500 to take a course last term. I took a course on biblical Greek, right? So I'm totally good with that if that's what you guys decide. But you really have to clarify that this is what you're doing, right? You're spending $50, $100, $10, $12.99, $6, and $200. So $378.99 is what he is spending in luxuries for himself. Okay? Per blow money, $100 a month. Now, and I'm certainly not saying this has to be fair. And I'm totally even fine with him not tracking it. All that, let me bring back up the names here. All that Nellie would do is Nellie would just track, because Nellie's the nerd in this relationship, clearly, which is great. I love the nerd. Nellie, all that Nellie would do is track $200 a month. She would take out the cash, put it in an envelope, give it to him, and say, here you go, done. Even better, if you want to keep that extra bank account, I would put everything from his bank account into her, or vice versa, whatever. I don't care which bank account you use as your main one, but then keep the other one and make that his spending account. And then you just send an automatic transfer of $200 a month or of whatever to that account. And then he's got that account to spend on whatever he wants, right? That gets the tracking out of your hair, that gets it dealt with, and it's done, and you know it's taken care of. So if you wanted to put all of these things here, all of the extra things in there, and so send a $378.99 a month over there, sure, go for it, do that, right? But whatever you decide, you want to make the tracking as easy as possible, and yet you still want to track every single penny, okay? Even when he's not willing to do it or not able to do it. Make sense? All right, so we've got his and her blow money. Then we've got a date night each month, which I'm certainly not opposed to. Date night of $40. Oops, I've got this under personal. Does that go personal, lifestyle, whatever? It doesn't matter. Next up, okay, here. Supporting a family back in Cuba. Now, this is something that's absolutely important. It's not budgeted in, depends on how much is left over after bills and expenses. And this is a quote, sending whatever he can each month. I tend not to get too involved in this area. And that is something that is really, really, really important here. Is that it comes back to that what I was talking about at the beginning, about this idea of being on the same page, right? Working together as a group or as a married couple towards victory, towards what you together want as a family, right? And in that case, if you're going to sit down and work together on this, you're going to consciously choose where your money is going to go together, then you need to consciously choose together how much you're going to send to the family in Cuba each month. You want to send $500 a month. Great. I will not criticize you for that. I know family is important. But you together need to decide. And because of your massive debt, you together need to decide and take that into account, right? You got to ask how much is appropriate given your situation, because every dollar you send to them is one less dollar that's going towards the debt. So I'm going to put the $150 in there. I'll put that under lifestyle, I guess. Okay. Whatever you decide is fine, but you guys need to decide it together. And none of this left over. Okay. None of this left over. Decide how much you're going to send. Because if you've got $150 to send $150. If you've got $200 to send, go ahead and send the $200. If you decide that the leftover is going there, you certainly can, but that makes that your main priority. And if they're in serious need, okay, then you might even need to stop your debt snowball. You might even just pay minimums on everything and be willing to support them a ton, send them $1,000 this month. You got $1,100 left over still, right? And that you can make that your priority if you want, but consciously choose what you're going to spend. And if they are in an emergency situation, then sure, okay, maybe we need to help them as an emergency situation, but that would be a short time period. If you're supporting them on a regular basis, decide on a dollar amount you're going to send them, and I bet you they'll be grateful for that, because then at least they know exactly how much they're getting every single month, right? You call them up and say, okay, hey, mom, dad, I'm going to be sending you $150 a month for the next 10 months, like next year at least. Okay, we're just going to fix it at that, and we can renegotiate at that point. And of course, if something comes up, you can always talk about it that month and have a special one-time extra thing that month, right? There are things like that you can do, but you want to consciously decide on this as a couple. What are you going to do? Make sense? Good. All right. And that really does it. All right. So we've got a couple extra things where their money has been going. So they've got some sinking funds. They got $140 in some car maintenance fund, and they're putting $70 a month there. And that's not a bad thing to do. So I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. The vehicle maintenance here, I'll go ahead and make that a fund. The starting balance will be $140. Save that. And then the plan for this month is $70. And I think that's very reasonable. That gives you $200 in case there's an accident. It's going to start, not an accident. If something breaks down, you need an oil change, whatever, you can start piling that up. Now, Terence's license fee, again in December. So due to some demerits or something, he's had to pay this one this past year, but they're going to need another $200 by December. And I divided that out. That's $22.23 a month. I would put that in here so that you don't get stuck having to pay that out of pocket in December. That's $200. I mean, well, no. Look at this. You got $1,100 left. So you know what? When December comes, pay the $200. I would just pay the $200 when it comes. Oh, there's the renter's insurance. Renter's insurance, $340 due in May, but $0 right now. Oh, I see. Okay, so we've got to save up or get ready for a $340 payment in May. You could, just like the Terence's license fee, you could start saving monthly for it. I'm usually opposed to small things like this because, again, you have $1,000 extra still, and you've got $340 due in May. In May, you'll be able to handle that. Pay it in full in May. Don't get onto a payment plan. You don't want to start trapping your money, but go ahead and pay it when it comes. All right, good. Next up, savings. So this was interesting. So they had gotten CERB last year, and they had saved up $1,670 to pay back the taxes from CERB. If you didn't know, CERB was taxable income that they didn't take on any taxes off for. So they had saved up $1,670, which is great. And it turned out, and let me bring up the introduction. Yep. No, income. In the income page, I had talked about how they did their taxes. And so this has all happened very, very recently in the last couple of weeks. And so they owed only $230. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my calculator here again. Where's my calculator hiding? There it is. And what happened was they had $1,670. Hopefully they paid the $230 out of that. And that means they have $1,400 extra sitting around that was supposed to go towards CERB, and they didn't need it. So guess what? That money needs a job. I'm going to go ahead and put it in income this month. Bam! That is awesome to see, right? That money becomes freed up. It doesn't need to be spent there anymore. I have the same thing. We had saved up some money just in case we owed taxes for my business this year. Didn't need it. So now I've got it. All right. So that is there. Let's bring back up where we were at here. Okay. So that sinking fund is now emptied. I have emptied that sinking fund. They also have a $600 vacation sinking fund. I'm going to empty that. Okay. Now, what I would say is that if you've only got $600 for a vacation, look, you had $1,000 before I added the $1,400 this month. You had $1,000 left. If something really comes up, where you really, really need to spend a couple $100 and get away somewhere. I don't know where you're going right now because everything's closed down. But if you really needed to, you can cash flow something. $600 is not going to change your life. So I would take that right out and I would say vacation money, $600, and we're going to decide where that's going to go this month. Their emergency fund. They have $1,500 in emergency fund, which is part of the Dave-ish. If you don't know, baby step 1 is a $1,000 emergency fund, and that's it. $1,000 is not nearly enough for an emergency fund, but it is what you do until you get done baby step 1 and until you get done baby step 2. So it's a starter $1,000 emergency fund that can be used when an emergency hits. And look, we had $1,000 left over this month, right? So if something was to happen, you would stop everything. Like imagine there's a typhoon. No, it wouldn't be a typhoon. In Cuba, it would be a hurricane in Cuba, and your family needs some serious help. You stop everything. You pay minimums on everything, and you pile up cash, right? And you've got $1,000 from this month. You've got a $1,000 emergency fund, right? And you scrounge up whatever other cash you can find, and you deal with the emergency. Right? So this is the thing, is that $1,000 is not enough, but it's enough to be a small buffer between you and life so you can stop using debt. You can get rid of the credit cards and you can feel good about it. Okay? So I'm going to put that in here too. Extra emergency fund money of $500. They've got a buffer of $80. That's fine. I might even up that buffer zone a little bit, but having a buffer zone in your account is not a bad idea. And then you got this separate. You mentioned that her daughter, Rianne's money, they've got about $400 saved up, and they're putting money into an account on a regular basis there. I would stop that, and I would also stop the RESP. And the reason, again, is it comes down to focusing entirely on the debt. You want to get that $1,000 of minimum payments back in your hands, in your control, as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. Now, I'm not going to take out any of these. They got some TFSA, RRSPs, RESPs. Not going to take out any of that money. I'm going to leave it there and let it grow and make sure it's actually invested well. Make sure it's invested in some good mutual funds. But I am going to stop contributing to it because I want to focus everything on the debt. And would you look at what we've got left now? Right now, having gone through absolutely everything, this is everything I was sent for this month of April, we have $3,656.49 left available. Oh, we're going to have some fun now. All right, so what we're going to do now, and bear in mind, I upped the grocery a little bit there, right? I took care of all that stuff. Your gas is there. Your emergency fund is full. Your emergency fund, I don't know why it says $61 there. Your emergency fund has now only $1,000 in it instead of $1,500. Your debt is now here, and this is where things get fun. Check this out. Let's bring back up your debt. Okay, the TD Visa. Guess what? It's done. It's gone. Easy. His license fee that you've been paying every single month for months now, it's gone. Okay, now I'm going to assume you don't owe the whole thing left. No, actually, you know what? I came up with a 325. I multiplied 36 by how many months are left, and I got about 325. So I'm going to guess 325 and put that down there and call it done, right? I would, call up MPI, call up whoever, and ask them, how much do you owe? What is left? Can I get that done right now? I'll come in and pay it today, okay? Next up, check it out. We got $3,000 left, guys. Next up, your car tires. That is the next debt. Pay it off. You now own your tires. Doesn't that feel great? Right? Your winter tires on a day today when it is storming outside. We've got a blizzard outside right now. You have paid off car tires and you still have $1,800 left this month. Next up, that personal loan. I'm going to take the $1,836.83 left and put it into a bank account, a separate bank account maybe, and keep it ready. And when I get up to $3,000, I'm going to pay off your sibling. And that'll probably be next month with how this is looking right now. Next month, you should have somewhere around $1,000. Ooh, it's going to be tight to maybe pay it off next month, but certainly by 2 months from now, it's paid off. And you literally give them a check for $3,000 and you see here you go. Thanks so much. I appreciate you were there to help me when I needed it. please don't ever do that again for me. Right? Because you don't want to owe money to family. So all of that is gone. And now, the month after that, all the minimums that were in here. Look at the minimums. We've got 35 minimum there. We've got 36 minimum there. We've got 29 minimum there. All those minimums get added up and allow you to throw even more at car loan number 1, the Mercedes-Benz, and get it paid off. Okay? So in 1 month, just from taking the dollar amounts that were all over the place and getting focused and getting on the Dave Ramsey plan precisely, we now get able to throw over $3,000 this month on debt. And that is incredible. That will feel great. That'll be a huge bump towards getting there. Now, as you start looking at what's going to happen on a usual month, you're not going to have these, right? On a usual month, you're not going to have that extra money. And so it's going to be a long slog to get this out of debt. It's still going to be a long slog together. I mean, we're down to 57,000-ish right now, right? So what does that look like? Well, you have a $30,000 car loan. That's something worthy. Now, you can afford it. It's within the Dave Ramsey plan. In fact, if you don't know, the Dave Ramsey plan, what he says is that up to half your household income. Half your household income in vehicles, if things with motors in them. And so if we look at our income again here, their total income for the year is $118,000. So they could have up to $60,000 in, or $58,000 or whatever it is, in vehicles, value vehicles, and that'd be okay. Right now, their vehicles are, I don't remember right now. Yeah, I had them here. 23 grand there, 18 grand there. So we're talking about 40-ish, 40 grand, 41 worth of vehicles. So you're getting high, but you're not ridiculous. But as you guys start moving through this, as you guys are actually really sticking to the Dave Ramsey plan, you're going to start looking at that as an option. And I remember when I started looking at that as an option for us. We had bought our brand new 2011 Toyota Sienna. We paid full price for it. And as we were getting out of debt, we're like, you know what? I could just make one move, sell this loan, take out a loan for a little bit of a vehicle, and be $10,000 closer to debt free. And that starts to smell really good. For you guys, it might be closer to $20,000 or $25,000 closer to debt free, right? That gets really appealing. Now, you may not do it today, you may not do it tomorrow, but every day you keep these vehicles, they're nice vehicles, but every day you keep these vehicles, they are going down in value. That's what vehicles do. So you definitely want to think about that, consider that, talk about that. And again, you're making these decisions together. I can't overemphasize that. When we first discovered the Dave Ramsey plan, I was the one who really wanted to get out of debt. I was the one who was most excited about getting out of debt. And my wife wasn't. And because she didn't have the same information as me. She didn't have the same hope as me. She didn't see the same things that I did. And so as we started working together, I was making sacrifices and she was not making the same sacrifices. But we started the conversation. We started talking about it where I would say, okay, we're deciding we're going to keep this in the budget because I want to get her on board as much as possible. So I'm willing to keep this in the budget, but we can't have this then. Okay. Like, what do you think about that? If we really want to get out of debt, we go ahead. We're still going to do this. We're going to say okay to that little luxury, but this one, we're not going to do that then. We're going to cut that out in exchange for this because this one's more important. You see what I mean? You get to have those conversations, sometimes fights, unfortunately, and if you're anything like us, but you get to move forward as a couple, and you get to make these decisions as a couple, and you get to lock arms. And as we went, what happened was she started seeing the progress. She started seeing things actually happening, success, debt being paid off. And by the time the debt was paid off, she was completely on board. It was an 18-month transition, or 19 months for us, whatever it was, transition for us. But over those years, when she started, 19 months previous, she had no hope that we'd be able to get out of debt anytime soon. And by the time we got out of debt, she was all on board. She was ready to go and so fired up that I did it anyway. I picked up extra work. I sacrificed. I picked up extra jobs, finding ways to throw more and more money at the debt because I was the one excited. I was the one interested. I denied myself. and did what I could to serve my family. So I hope that gives you some inspiration today. I hope that brings you some value today around getting out of debt and getting control of your money. Good luck, guys. I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so excited to see these next few years turn out for you. I could totally see you being out of debt very, very soon. I mean, what would it take? Let's actually go back to that. What would it take to be out of debt in 2 years? My calculator's gone again. It's hiding behind one of these. There it is. So your debt right now, after this month, will be around, there, will be around $57,000. Let's call it $57,000. If you're going to get out of debt in 2 years, what would that be? That would be $2,375 every month. Now, that's not unreasonable. Remember that our income, our minimum payments were already $1,000 on the debt. You put one extra $1,000 every single month, $1,300, $1,400 extra every single month, and you're out of debt in 2 years. 3 years, I would not go to 3 years with you guys. I would aim for 2 years. And what's going to happen over those 2 years, as long as you stay focused on the Dave Ramsey plan, as long as you stay intentional in deciding where things are going to go, what you're going to start seeing is other opportunities to either increase your income, bring in more income, pick up overtime, sell something, an inheritance comes in, like whatever. Any number of things come in, and because you're focused on the debt, that's where it goes. Tax refunds, whatever comes in, that's where it goes. And then you see more and more and more progress. So I could totally see you guys getting out of debt within 24 months, but you've got to be on the same page. You've got to be working together, and you've got to be planning and tracking a budget every single month. So this is the big thing, reason why I call every dollar. So that's one more thing I'll put in the description for anybody who's never seen it. I've got a video down there describing why I use every dollar, what is so awesome about every dollar, and why it changed our lives with respect to budgeting. So with that, I hope you found that valuable. Thanks so much for watching. Please go ahead again, like, comment, subscribe, and we will talk to you again soon. So thanks so much for watching. Have a good one. We'll talk to you again.